Hi there. Thanks for tuning in to our Tech Happy Hour with Virginia Clean Cities. I'm a program coordinator here at VCC, and today we have our special guest, Sustainable Energy Strategies Incorporated. This webinar was hosted in May of 2024 with our guest speaker, Burl Haigwood of Sustainable Energy Strategies. And now I'd like to give a little intro for our speaker. Burl Haigwood is a biofuels subject matter expert on the Sustainable Energy Strategies Incorporated infrastructure team. For over 30 years, SCSI's team has worked with national, state, and local stakeholders by providing a range of services, including project management, grant writing, infrastructure development, and serving as a government and industry liaison. SCSI is also an active Clean City stakeholder. Mr. Haigwood has worked as a professional, volunteer, and advisor in the clean fuels industry for 40 years. He has immersed himself in various roles, always with an entrepreneurial spirit and fervently advocating sustainable energy solutions. He also wrote many iterations of the Fuel Ethanol Fact Book, other industry reports, and dozens of articles while serving as the Vice President of Operations at Information Resource Incorporated, and as the Director of Program and Client Development at Clean Fuels Development Coalition. He continues to serve on the Clean Fuels Foundation Advisory Board. Following his strong belief in the need for clean fuel public education campaigns, Mr. Haigwood is an experienced national speaker. We welcome him today to share his insights on biofuels, infrastructures, and related funding opportunities. So with that, I'll pass it over to Burl, and I will start sharing my screen.
Thank you, Greg. With that kind of experience, you think I could have got you my PowerPoint at the time?
Hey, it's all right. We had a quick phone conversation, and I never followed up, so that's on me too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity Virginia Clean Cities provided us to make this presentation. To those in our virtual audience now and in the future for recorded sessions, thank you for wanting to learn more about winning federal and state grants for alternative fuels infrastructure. I'm going to guide you through this information in this presentation. It's comprehensive. There won't be a test, and you'll receive a copy as a follow-up. Please feel free to add a question in the chat box anytime. Greg will keep an eye on it. If there is time at the end, we will unmute the microphone so you can ask questions directly. If you need additional help, because it again is a lot of information, please send me a note, and our team can provide you and your team with a more in-depth conversation about the process and requirements for grants. Why am I here? My name is Burl Haigwood. I'm from Washington, and I'm here to help. Some of you may not be old enough to remember that or ever being a me. DC, that's always the good news and the bad news. Over the past 24 years, Sustainable Energy Strategies has written, advised, and administered hundreds of federal and state grants for alternative fuels infrastructure projects, including the HBI-IP grants that we'll focus on today. We have helped win over $1 billion in federal funding. And we're here today because of support from the Maryland Grain Producers and Utilization Board and Clean Fuels Alliance for America. So truly, not only do you have hundreds of $millions in federal funding, but you have the personal commitment and dedication from lots of people who want to see you succeed with these programs. So what brings us together? Over the past 12 to 24 months, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of retail refueling stations adding higher blends of biofuels, both ethanol and biodiesel, and EV charging. Why? It's a powerful combination of the increasing amount of federal and state financial incentives to develop the refueling infrastructure that's needed, an increase in consumer education, awareness, and acceptance, and demand for greener cars and cleaner fuels, and importantly for this industry, higher profit margins for retailers. So we have to ask, is your alternative fuel infrastructure strategic plan glass half full, or would you rather see it overflowing? So let's get into the overview, some history and some news. And the most important element of our presentation is what's in it for you, the companies that refuel our nation. For 100 years, gasoline has been an amazing product. The public can drive any one of 400 different model cars from Alaska to Miami in any weather and refuel at nearly any time of day or night. But there's bad news. Gasoline has received a bad rep too. I think everybody's aware of national headlines claiming that the federal government or some state governments are going to ban internal combustion engines. Well, there's good news. Because of public pressure, Congress passed several laws since 1990 to make gasoline cleaner. almost every one of those laws supported the development of biofuels. Gasoline and diesel got cleaner, and so did the air, the equivalent of taking 16 million vehicles off the road. So there's great news. Those 16 million vehicles are still on the road, traveling even more miles, and they're stopping by your stations to buy breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and cleaner fuel, because there is no liquid refueling at home. Now there's even insanely great news. Federal and state governments, along with other organizations, are providing gasoline retailers with hundreds of millions of dollars for grants and the support, like we give, so that you can win them. So what's tomorrow's news? In the next 12 to 24 months, hundreds of retail refueling stations are offering consumers more cleaner fuel choices to protect their investments. It's a win-win-win. This presentation will help guide our conversation about USDA's Higher Blend Infrastructure Incentive Program, how to apply for grants and receive funding for new refueling infrastructure needed to sell higher blends of ethanol and biodiesel and install new EV recharging stations. You can go on to slide 3. Why biofuels? It's a great corporate story. There are 2.4 million electric vehicles on the road, and the number is growing every day. Just like when biofuels were introduced, EVs will get many bumps and bruises as it enters the world's largest fuel market. Meanwhile, there are over 275 million registered light-duty vehicles on the road and another 7 million registered passenger diesel vehicles, plus 11.4 million heavy-duty trucks that will be driving on our roads for many years, and they will need liquid fuels, and they will need to be cleaner. The nation's retailers can help their customers reduce carbon emissions every day in every vehicle by providing liquid fuels that reduce dependence on foreign oil, reduce air pollution, and support the nation's rural economy that feeds the world and your stores. So what's driving the growth? The new initial wave of new demand for alternative fuels for the past 2 decades was driven by energy, economic, and national security. The next wave is being driven by legislators, the public, and the media, becoming more aware and concerned about the research on gasoline's impact use on carbon emissions. So the cleaner fuels are going to help protect the liquid fuel market: biodiesel, renewable diesel, and fuel ethanol. So one of the most important reasons that appeals to the gasoline retailers is you're able to sell a higher octane product at a lower price. In some cases, a 26% savings. And as you'll see, from those margins, a lot of stations are starting to offer more blends. As you can see from slide 7, you can go to your local stations and you can see the difference on the difference between ethanol-free, 87, regular 88, that's E15, and E85. Sometimes E85 is 60 cents cheaper. So they're getting a higher price on a higher octane fuel. By adding 114, 120 octane ethanol to the pool, that's also reducing the price and the pressure on premium fuels, which again will help improve margins. As anything else that you do, marketing counts. Sites with E15 on their price sign sell 49% more volume of the product. 400 stations were added last year. That's a 15% increase. 254 of those are standard pumps, and it's saving consumers about $20 billion annually. And I'm sure that all the retailers will attest, cheaper fuel is more fuel. So you won't be the first, and hopefully not the last. There's growing to be 4,000 E8015 sites in the United States and nearly 6,000 E85 sites. You will join the ranks of all the top gasoline retailers. And they wouldn't be doing that with a high degree of risk. You're looking at Sheetz, Casey's, Thornton's, Racetrack. Okay, they are all in the program. The fuel quality standards are met, and they are increasing sales. Sometimes we're seeing about a 10% increase in the volume of sales. And then again, you're looking at different margins. So when you're increasing sales, you're also increasing store sales. There are some lessons learned that we can share. There's the do list, and there's also the don't list. They're saying don't call it E15. It's all about octane. Don't make it look different. When you use the orange, it appears to be a warning. There's plenty of labels on the pump, including every gasoline pump in the nation has this contains 10% ethanol, which should be and eventually will be a complement to your fuel strategy. So don't use extra warning labels, and have fewer than 50% of dispensers selling E15, and place the hose next to E85. Don't do that because it's too similar and people could get mixed up. If you can see on the next slide, you can see the difference between having the E85 and E15 on the left, and then just having it by itself with just the blue. So these are things that you can do and can't do to help increase your sales of E15. So again, as a retailer, you're looking at where is the market headed? So there's a lot of things in play that are going to support the development of biofuels. One is the world's first flex fuel plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That's a follow-up because there's already about 21 million flex fuel vehicles on the road that automakers made over the last 2 decades. They're still on the road, they're still around, but again, there is a effort to get them incentives, just like there's incentives for electric vehicles. And now you're looking at a combination of electricity, biofuels, and gasoline working together, where cars can get over 100 miles to the gallon of gasoline when you take a combination of all those fuels. And while people often think those fuels are pitted against each other, this is just an amazing example of how we need everything we can to meet the consumer's demand, and also the different policy objectives that we're experiencing. As many people know, Brazil's been way ahead of us, and they just invested $23 billion in its automotive sector so it can produce flex fuel plug-in electric vehicles. So the trend is coming. So with biodiesel, it's the same thing. We're expecting a 6 billion gallon market by 2030. And there's new markets, and not just road, it's jet fuel, it's rail, ocean going shipping, home heating oil, and an emergency electric generation. And the addition of biofuels creates an immediate reduction in emissions and helps not only with price, but also with the emissions. Biofuels have been around for decades. The Fuel Quality Assurance Program is in place. BQ 9000 is a biodiesel quality assurance program. And over 90% of US production is by BQ 9000 producers. So again, there's so many lessons learned in play that retailers are experiencing very few problems. They're experiencing market growth because quality assurance is at the highest part of everybody's strategic plan. The shelf life has been extended up to 3 years, and with some additives, you can go up to 4 years. So the industry has continued to address quality assurance and are meeting those demands. So consumers, they're looking for greener cars, they're looking for cleaner fuels. Their awareness of carbon has caught their attention. And right now, retailers can give them a lower carbon fuel today without buying a new vehicle, without switching fuels. And that has the highest impact right away, whether it's environmental justice in the neighborhoods that they're living in. But again, it's an immediate reduction because ethanol has about a 50% lower carbon than gasoline by itself. So everybody's committed to net zero. You can hear it in every industry, and the biofuels industry is no different. And they're looking by 2050 that ethanol will be net zero when you take everything into consideration. When you look at other companies, whether they give away shoes or socks or to environmental groups, they're doing a social cause because it's what motivates the consumers to buy and to remain loyal. So retailers participating in low carbon high octane, cleaner fuels are part of that commitment to net zero. And that can create some great social fodder and promotions for your retail outlet. The other thing that's hitting the news is transportation fuels are the largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. That's no secret. And that's the focus. That's the focus of EPA's new multi-pollution rule and many states that are looking to go to low carbon fuels as part of their standard. When you look at California and their information, nearly 80% of their carbon emission reductions are from ethanol, biodiesel, and renewable diesel fuel. That's amazing, and that's immediate. And that's how, working together, the retail industry, automakers, policymakers can have an immediate impact on lowering the carbon footprint of the nation's largest greenhouse emission sector, which is transportation. And, biofuels, again, the potential is great, whether it's 40%, 46%, which is about half for ethanol, reducing carbon to gasoline, or you're looking at biodiesel, which reduces by 70% on average. So these are immediate. It happens in every car that's using this blend today. And again, that's not an inconvenience to anyone. Simply by changing the standard, changing the formula, and making it available, you have an immediate impact on your local community. And those are some bragging rights. So let's get into the funding opportunities. And again, there's a lot of information here. So we're gonna walk through this. And again, our team is available to walk through this with your company. You may have financial people, construction people, and bring them all so everybody gets the answers at the same time. So we're looking at $450 million to be awarded over the next 5 quarters. It's $90 a window. Awards are announced up to 180 days after each window closes. You can apply for up to $5 million during each window, up to $15 million, and matching funds are required. There's also the Green Bank program that can help, that provides low interest loans. And federal cost share is up to 75% with retailers with less than 10 stations or home heating oil distributors. And you have 36 months to complete the project. Don't let that window of opportunity close on your company. If all the money is not spent in the five rounds, there may be additional rounds. However, if the money is spent earlier, they may not be a 5th round. So there is a sense of urgency. And again, the thing to remember is there's a lot of companies that have gone in these early rounds because this used to be very, very competitive. Now with multiple rounds and more money, I think that the odds for people winning are obviously going up. So who can apply? Owners of transportation fueling facilities, owners of fuel distribution facilities, including home heating oil distributors. A single applicant may include multiple project sites in one application. An applicant must own the site or have a long-term lease. So they're adding a lot of flexibility to the program, and I think most people will be eligible for that. The funding breakdown: $6.85 million for transportation fueling facilities. This includes fueling stations, convenience stores, fleet facilities, delivery vehicles, municipalities. And then there's another $18 million for fuel distribution facilities, which includes terminal operations, depots, and other facilities. So again, they're trying to hit the entire supply chain, and there's opportunities for everybody. Which higher biofuels are eligible? Fuel ethanol greater than 10%. This is to move higher blends of ethanol, so it'll be E15 or higher. And then biodiesel, the same thing, which would be greater than 5%, such as B20. Renewable diesel and sustainable aviation fuels are not eligible. So here's an overview of the retail project funding by location. It's broken down into California and all the other states. So as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of money here for dispensers, E15 to retrofit, E85 for B20. And then they've also capped this cost for storage tanks And again, looking at ethanol and biodiesel, and then California and non-California states. It all depends on your location. We can walk you through a series of questions, looking at the fuel you sell, the life cycle of your current equipment. There's lots of drivers to consider. Like I said, the company's done this hundreds of times, and there's no need to fret on what you need to know. There's lots of help, and we can provide it for you. So what does one of the HBIIP grants cover? The most important thing is costs incurred after the application is submitted. Tank systems and components including tanks, pumps, equipment, lines, gaskets, construction, fees, permits, licenses. But what it does not pay for is construction or equipment that would have been incurred regardless of the HBIIP project, such as a new station tank. So this is not about new stations. This is about retrofitting and getting stations currently in their infrastructure to sell higher blends of biofuels. So how many awards are there going to be? About 175 awards per quarter. That is a lot of opportunity. It's a highly competitive grant. So again, there's multiple windows and opportunities throughout your infrastructure. So post-award reporting requirements. As you know, anytime you get money, you've got to account for it. It's rather easy to do. You have the data as part of your simple business practices. There's semi-annual reporting until the project is completed. It's online. It's easy. You can walk through it. We can talk you through it. And then annual reporting for 5 full calendar years following project completion. That is just the way the government fulfills its fiduciary responsibility to account for that money. And again, this is data that you have, and it's just a matter of putting it in the right place and on the right spot online. Summary of the process. Start now. Organize your team to write the grant. Be prepared for when these windows open up. We can also help you to get ready, because there's things that you'll need. Registering on sam.gov, registering for your e-authorization account. These are, it's a simple task. It's a simple list, but these things are needed, and you just need to know in case you need other people on your team to get this information. You need to line up your cost share. Environmental information surveys scare people. It's 4 pages. It's not a lot of work. We can walk you through that. And you need to allow 2 to 3 months to complete. So it's all about planning and starting the process now. Again, you can do this online. There's a website here. You can go there. It tells you how to apply. It is a simple process. It's just a matter of putting the data in the right place and having resources online, people like Clean Cities that can help you when you're stuck. Again, hundreds of grants, millions of dollars have been submitted and completed and won. This is not something that should stop you, and we don't want to see the process being able to stop you either. So you can go through the application process, the overview, how to apply, how to access forms. Again, it's an easy step through process, and you have help. How to access online application. You need to register for sam.gov. That's not cumbersome, but it's something you need to do. You need to create a USD authorized user account. And you complete the HBIIP online access request form. So again, these are all outlined for you. You'll have this slide to walk through. And again, you always have us to talk through it as well. Again, don't be inundated by all the forms. Federal Forms 424, 424A, and 424C. It's got budgets, it's got project estimates, technical reports, but this is all information that is easily obtainable from the right place at the right time. And as any project that you've done, your stores pretty much follows that same process, and you'll be able to help. I don't think this is going to be a burden on any one person. It will take a team, and we can be part of that team as well as Clean Cities. In addition to the grants, there's also income tax credits. Talk to your accountant. You can these links will give you access to the laws, and it will explain where you can get the credits and how they apply. And again, that's something your accountant can walk you through. Next slide. We're looking at EVs. So the IRS has alternative fuel infrastructure tax credit, and the eligibility is outlined. There's a contact here. So they're trying to track these for obvious reasons. But again, there are tax credits available. You need to confirm your location eligibility. You can refer to the Oregon National Laboratory 30C tax credit eligibility locator tool. And that's also provided for you under the map, and there's a hyperlink that can take you there. So for EVs, the alternative fuel vehicle conversion and infrastructure tax credits are available, $10,000 for publicly accessible alternative fuel vehicle fueling stations, including EV charging and biodiesel. So again, here's an outline of the law, and here's hyperlinks that you can go to this law, see the legislation, as well as people that will help you if you have any questions. Dominion Energy also offers support. They have EV charging station rebate program, up to 50% of the cost to install level 2 EV charging stations. Dominion Energy will provide maintenance support for stations installed through the program. So again, the insanely great news is the amount of information, money, and support that's being offered to retailers to install cleaner burning fuels and to meet all kinds of objectives, including keeping customers and making more money. There's information here to help. We're here, Greg's here. There's lots of organizations here to support you. The contact information is here, and we don't want anybody to feel that this is too much of a burden or will take too long, because again, we've done it many times. We've got a high success rate, and we're here wishing you every success, because your success is our success. And does anybody have any questions?
And yes, of course, if you have questions, please feel free to leave a comment below this video or email me directly. My email is below. My name is Gregory Brennan, and I'm a program coordinator with Virginia Clean Cities. We thank you so much for listening, and if you've made it this far, please give us a follow and subscribe to all of our social media channels and sign up for our email list. Special thanks to Burl and the SESI team. We look forward to seeing you at our next Tech Happy Hour.